Welcome back to another live stream. So today I'm going to be reading Second Samuel chapter number 17 all the way to chapter number 24. It's going to be a big stream. Hopefully my internet is good so that I can complete this task of Second Samuel chapter number 7. Let me go to chapter number 7. Hi Jess, Grand Rising. Thank you for coming in. Hope you have a great day. I saw your poke in the Facebook. I repoked you, so keep doing it, brother. I hope you have a great day. Grand Rising to you. Second Samuel chapter number 7. Now it came to pass when the king was dwelling in his house, and the Lord had given him rest for all his enemies all around, that the king said to Nathan the prophet, See now, I dwell in the house of cedar, but the ark of the God dwells inside 10 curtains. Then Nathan said to king, Go, do all that is in your heart, for the Lord is with you. But it happened that night that the word of the Lord came to Nathan, saying, Go and tell my servant David, Thus says the Lord, Would you build a house for me to dwell in? For I have not dwelt in an house since the time that I brought the children of Israel up from Egypt, even to this day, but I have moved about in tent and in tabernacle. Wherever I moved about in all the children of Israel, I ever spoke a word to anyone from the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to shepherd my people Israel, saying, Why have you not built me an house of cedar? Now therefore, thus shall you say to my servant David, Thus says the Lord of hosts, I took you from sheepfold, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I have been with you wherever you have gone, and I have cut off all your enemies from before you, and I have made you a great name, like the name of the great men who are on the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Nor shall the sons of the wickedness oppress them any more as previously. Since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, I have caused you to rest from all your enemies. Also, the Lord tells you that he will make you an house. When your days are fulfilled and you rest with your fathers, I will set up your seed after you, who will come from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commits iniquity, I will chasten him with rod of men, and with the blows of sons of men. But my mercy shall not depart from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I removed from before you. And your house and your kingdom shall be established forever. Before you, your throne shall be established forever. According to all these words and according to all the visions, so Nathan spoke to David. Then King David went in and sat before the Lord, and he said, Whom I am, O Lord God, and what is my house that you have brought me this far? And yet this was a small thing in your sight, O Lord God. And you have also spoken of your servant house for a great while to come. Is this the man of man, O Lord? Now what more can David say to you? For you, Lord God, know your servant. For your word's sake, and according to your own heart, you have done all these great things to make your servant know them. Therefore you are great, O Lord God, for there is none like you, nor is there any God besides you, according to all that ye have heard with your ears. And who is like your people, like Israel, the one nation on the earth, whom God went to redeem for himself, as a people, to make for himself a name, and to do for yourself great and awesome deeds for your land, and for you, whom you redeemed for yourself, Egypt, the nations and their gods. For you have made your people Israel your very own people forever, and you, Lord, have become their God. Now, O Lord God, the word which you have spoken concerning your servant and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as you have said. So let your name be magnified forever, saying, The Lord of hosts is the God of over Israel, and let the house of your servant David be established before you. For you, O Lord, of hosts of God of Israel, have revealed this to you, your servant, saying, I will build you an house. Therefore, your servant has found it in the heart to pray this prayer to you. And now, O Lord God, you are God, and your words are true, and you have promised this goodness to your servant. Now, therefore, let it please you to bless the house of your servant, that may continue before you forever. For you, O Lord God, have spoken it, and with your blessings, let the house of your servant be blessed forever. Chapter number 7 is completed. Chapter number 8. And after this, it came to pass that David attacked the Philistines and subdued them. David took Methan, Hamar from the hand of Philistines. Then he defeated Moab, forcing them down to the ground. He measured them off with a line. With 2 lines he measured off those to put to death, and with one full line those to be kept alive. So the Moabites became David's servant and brought tribute. David also defeated Hadarezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, and he went to recover his territory at the river Euphrates. David took from him 1,000 chariots, 700 horsemen, and 20,000 foot soldiers. Also, David hamstrung all the chariot horses, except that he spared enough of them for 100 chariots. When the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadadezer, king of Zoab, David killed 20,000 of the Syrians. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus. The Syrians became David's servant and brought tribute. The Lord preserved David wherever he went. David took the shields of gold that he belonged to the servant of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem, also from Betah and from Berothai, the cities of Hadadezer. King David took a large amount of bronze. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had defeated all the army of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joab, his son, to King David to greet him and bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and defeated him. For Hadadezer has been at war with Toi, and Joram brought him with articles of silver, articles of gold, and articles of bronze. King David also dedicated this to the Lord, along with the silver and gold that he dedicated from all the nations which he has subdued, from Syria, from Moab, from the people of Ammon, from Philistines, from Amalek, and from the spoil of Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah. And David made himself a name when he returned from killing 80,000 Syrians in the valley of Salt. He also put garrisons in Edom. Through all Edom he put garrisons. And all the Edomites became David's servants, and the Lord preserved David wherever he went. So David reigned over all Israel, and David administered judgment and justice to all the people. Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the army, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahitub was recorder. Zadok the son of Ahitub was Ahimelech the son of Abidar were the priest. Syria was the scribe, and Benaiah the son of Joiada was over the both of Jerusites and the Pelethites, and David's son were chief ministers. Chapter number 8 is completed. Let me go to chapter number 9. Now David said, Is there still anyone who's left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? And there was a servant of the house of Saul, whose name was Ziba. So when they called him to David, the king said to him, Are you Ziba? He said, At your service. Then king said, Is there not still someone of the house of Saul to whom I may show kindness of God? And Ziba said to the king, There is still a son of Jonathan who is lame in his feet. So the king said to him, Where is he? And Ziba said to the king, Indeed, he is in the house of Mashir, the son of Amiel, in Lo Debar. Then King David sent and brought him out of the house of Mashir, the son of Amiel, from Lo Debar. Now, when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, had come to David, he fell on his face and prostrated himself. Then David said, Mephibosheth, and he answered, It is your servant. So David said to him, Do not fear, for I will surely show you kindness for Jonathan, your father's sake, and I will restore to you all the land of Saul, your grandfather, and you shall eat bread at my table continually. Then he bowed himself and said, What is your servant that you should look upon such a dead dog as I? The king said to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said to him, I have given to my master's son all that belongs to Saul and to all his house. You therefore and your sons and your servants shall work the land for him, and you shall bring in the harvest, that your master's son may have food to eat. And Mephibosheth, your master's son, shall eat bread at my tables always. So Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. And Ziba said to the king, According to all that my lord the king has commanded his servants, so will your servant do. As for Mephibosheth, said the king, he shall eat at my table like one of the king's sons. Mephibosheth has a younger son whose name was Misha, and all who dwelt in the house of Ziba were the servants of Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for he ate continually at the king's table, and he was lame in both his feet. Chapter number 9 is completed. Interesting chapter, because if you read in the first Samuel, Saul was about to kill David, but here David is not only showing respect and kindness for the Saul's people, but he's also giving them a preference to come and eat in the king's table. So, interesting chapter of showing love to your enemies. 2 Samuel chapter number 10. Chapter number 10. It happened after that the king of people of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his place. Then David said, I will show kindness to Hanan the son of Nahash, as his father showed kindness to me. So David sent by the hand of his servant to comfort him concerning his father. And David's servant came into the land of the people Ammon. The princes of the people of Ammon said to Hannah, their lord, Do you think that David really honors your father because he has sent comforters to you? Has David not rather sent his servants to you to search the city, to spy it out, and to overthrow it? Therefore Hanun took David's servant, shaved off the hands, half of his beard, cut off his garments in the middle, and the buttocks, and sent them away. And they told David he sent to meet them, because the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, Wait at Jericho until your beards have grown, and then return. When the people of Ammon saw that they had made themselves repulsive to David, the people of Ammon sent and hired the Syrians of Beth Rehob, the Syrians of Zobah, 20,000 foot soldiers, and from the king of Masha 1,000 men, and from Ishtob 12,000 men. Now when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the army of the mighty men. Then the people of Ammon came out and put themselves in the battle array at the entrance of the gate, and the Syrians of Zobah, Bedrobah, Ishtob, and Makkah were by themselves in the field. When Joab saw that the battle line was against him before and behind, he chose some of the Israel's best and put them in the battle array against the Syrians. The rest of the people he put under the commandment of Abishai his brother, that he might set them in a battle array against the people of Ammon. Then he said, If the Syrians are too strong for me, then you shall help me. But if the people of Ammon are too strong for you, then I will come and help you. Be of good courage, and let us be strong for our people and for the cities of our God. May the Lord do what is good in his sight. So Joab and the people who were with him drew near for the battle against the Syrians, and they fled before. When the people of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fleeing, they also fled before Abishai and entered the city. So Joab returned from the people of Ammon and went to Jerusalem. When the Syrians saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they gathered together the Hadadezar, sorry for the pronunciation, Hadadezar sent and brought out the Syrians who were beyond the river. They came to Helam, and Shobash, the commander of Hadadezar, army went before them. When it was told David, he gathered all Israel, crossed over the Jordan, and came to Elam. And the Syrians set themselves in battle array against David and fought with him. Then the Syrians fled before Israel, and David killed 700 chariots and 40,000 horsemen of Syrians, and struck Shopash, the commander of the army, who died there. And when all the kings who were the servants to Hadazar saw that they were defeated by Israel, they made a peace with Israel and served them. So the Syrians were afraid to help the people of Ammon anymore. Chapter number 10 is completed. The battle between the Amorites and the Syrians. The Amorites and the Syrians are defeated. So, okay, here comes Bathsheba. It's going to be an interesting chapter. So, 1 Samuel chapter 11. It happened in the spring of the year, at the time when kings go out to battle, that David sent Joab and his servant with him, and all Israel, and they destroyed the people of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David remained at Jerusalem. Then it happened one evening that David arose from his bed and walked on the roof of the king's house, and from the roof he saw a woman bathing. Okay. And the woman was very beautiful, behold. So David sent and inquired about the woman, and someone said, "Is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?" And David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him, and he lay with her, for she was cleansed from her impurity, and she returned to her house. And the woman conceived, so she sent and told David, and said, "I am with a child." And David said to Joab, saying, "Send me Uriah the Hittite." And Joab sent Uriah to David. When Uriah had come to him, David asked how Joab was doing, and how the people were doing, and how the war prospered. David said to Uriah, "Go down to your house and wash your feet." So Uriah departed from the king's house, and a gift of food from the king followed him. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and he did not go down to his house. So when they told David, saying, "Uriah did not go down to his house," David said to Uriah, "Did you not come from a journey? Why did you not go down to your house?" And Uriah said to David, "The ark and the Israel and Judah are dwelling in the tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go to my house to eat and drink, and to lie with my wife? As you live, and as your soul lives, I will not do these things." And David said to Uriah, "Wait here today also, tomorrow, and I will let you depart." So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day and the next. Now when David called him, he ate and drank before him, and he made him drunk. And at the evening he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his lord, but he did not go down to his house. In the morning it happened that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote it in the letter, saying, "Let Uriah in the forefront of his hottest battle, and retreat from him, that he may struck down and die." So look at David. He's trying to kill Uriah because he has like relationship with Bathsheba. So he's setting a trap, setting Uriah to be a forefront of the hottest battle, so that he may struck down and die. So it was while Joab besieged the city that he assigned Uriah to a place where he knew there was valiant men. Then the men of the city came out and fought with Joab, and some of the people of the servants of David fell, and Uriah the Hittite died also. Okay. Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messenger, saying, "When you have finished telling the matters of the war to the king, if it happens that the king's wrath rises, and he says to you, 'Why did you approach so near to the city when you fought? Did you not know that there would shoot from the wall, who struck Abimelech the son of Jerubbesheth? Was it not a woman who cast a piece of milestone on him from the wall, so that he died in Thebas? Why did you go near the wall? Then you shall say, Your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also.'" So the messengers went and came and told David all that Joab had sent him. The messengers said to David, "Surely the men prevailed against us, and came out to us in the field. Then we drove them back as far as the entrance of the gate. The archers shot from the wall at your servants, and some of the king's servants are dead, and your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also." Then David said to the messengers, "Thus you shall say to Joab, do not let this displease you, for the sword devours one as well as another. Strengthen your attack against the city and overthrow it. So encourage him." When the wife of Uriah heard that the Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when her mourning was over, David sent and brought her to his house, and she became his wife and bore him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. Okay, David. David has done something which has displeased the Lord. He almost like slept with the other man's wife, and not only that, he plotted to kill Uriah. So God is watching over David. No, God didn't like the way David has done these things. Very, very interesting chapter. Most of the people in the sermons about David, they talk about this chapter for 2 Samuel, chapter number 11. So let me go to chapter number 12. Maybe I'll play a few songs.
All right, try this again. Ahaz was a king who stole from the house of God to give princes to give tribute to the king of Assyria. He was seeking refuge from the Edomites who ravaged Judah's land. They took away the captives, worshiping their gods and believing in their broken promises. The Edomites moved cities and they did the same thing. Oh yeah, God judged Judah for the sins of Ahaz, their king. He burned his sons at the altar, oh God. He led his own people to bow down to worship other gods. He closed the doors of the temple and on every corner. An idol. He was only provoking God, who won't lead to anger. Yeah, they have went to sleep with his father. Ahaz went to sleep with his fathers. Yeah, things changed when Hezekiah came in. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, and the first year that he reigned, he opened the doors of the temple of God's house and wanted God come back where he once was. wanted God to come back to where he once was. He gathered the priests and the Levites, and he assembled them in the corner on the east. Oh, and he began to tell them, oh, he warned them. He said, our fathers, well, they've been unfaithful. Now we are in danger now. Consecrate yourself and this house of God, and carry it out, all this evil that you brought in. Now don't be negligent, oh, of this day. 'Cause God wants you to stand on this day. I said, yeah, God wants you to stand on this day. Yeah. Yes, Sennacherib, oh, was the king of Assyria. He thought he was gonna take Judah for himself. He went against the fortified cities, sent men to read letters, and said, oh, your faith, all in God isn't pity. Oh, yeah, your faith in God, we find it a pity. Oh, you could go to a land with milk and honey if you would just give it to us. You'd see it. Oh, don't believe it, yeah. What Hezekiah is preaching. Don't believe his lies. No, don't believe in your God. We'll take you to the land. You'll have freedom. Oh, when Hezekiah heard this, he went tore his clothes. He put ashes on his head. Oh, and he went when he wanted to talk to the Lord. Yeah, he wanted to talk to the living God. Oh, he cried out, this is of dead disgrace. It's a land of mourning, and we are in debt. The children are so weak they can't be born. And there was no one left. No one has strength anymore. Oh, Hezekiah cried out on that day. The day Hezekiah and Isaiah prayed, God sent one angel down, and 185,000 men were found on the ground that didn't rage. Yeah, on the day Hezekiah and Isaiah prayed, oh, it's like I told them, the king went back. He was, oh, he was ashamed. Yeah, oh, on that day. Isaiah and Isaiah prayed, yeah. That's as far as I've got. Let me know what you think.
Back. Yeah, I had a prayer, I had a family prayer, so I have to go and I'm back again. Thanks, Yasbel Sewing, for the song. So yeah, let me go again back to Second Samuel chapter number 12. So how's my internet? That's good. Chapter number 12. Then the Lord sent Nathan to David, and he came to him and said to him, there were two men in one city, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb which he had brought and nourished. And it grew together with him and with his children. It ate of his own food and drank from his own cup and lay in his bosom, and it was like a daughter to him. And a traveler came to a rich man who refused to take from his own flock and from his own herd to prepare one from a wayfaring man who had come to him. But he took the poor man's lamb and prepared it for the man who had come to him. So David's anger was greatly aroused against the man, and he said to Nathan, as the Lord lives, the man who has done this shall surely die, and he shall restore fourfold for the lamb, because he did this and because he had no pity. Then Nathan said to David, you are the man. Thus says the Lord God of Israel, I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you from the hand of Saul. And I gave you master's house and your master's wife into your keeping, and gave you the house of Israel and Judah. And if that had been too little, I also would have given you much more. Why have you despised the commandment of the Lord, to do evil in the sight? You have killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and you have taken his wife to be your wife, and have killed him with the sword of the people of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me, and have taken a wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will raise up adversaries against you from your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes, and give them to your neighbor, and ye shall lie with your wives in the sight of your son, sight of this son, for you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel, before the sun. So David and said to Nathanael, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said to David, the Lord also put away your sin, and you shall not die. However, because of this deed, you have given a great occasion to the enemies of the Lord, to blaspheme the children. Also, who is born to you shall surely die. Then Nathan departed from his house. The Lord struck the children that Uriah's wife bore to David, and he came ill. David therefore pleaded with God for the child. David fasted and went in, and lay all night on the ground. The elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the ground, but he would not, nor did he eat food with them. Then on the seventh day it came to pass that the child died. The servants of David were afraid to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, indeed, while the child was alive, we spoke to him, and he would not heed our voice. How can we tell him that the child is dead? He may do some harm. When David saw that his servants were whispering, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said to his servants, is the child dead? And he said, he is dead. So David arose from the ground, washed and anointed himself, and changed his clothes, and went into the house of the Lord, and worshipped. Then he went to his own house, and when he requested, they set food before him, and he ate. Then his servant said to him, what is that you have done? You fasted and wept for a child while he was alive, but when the child died, you arose and ate food. And he said, while the child was alive, I fasted and I wept, for I said, who can tell whether the Lord will be gracious to me, that the child may live? But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. Then David comforted Bathsheba, his wife, and went in to her and laid with her. So she bore a son, and she called his name Solomon. Now the Lord loved him, and he sent word by the hand of Nathan the prophet. So he called his name Jedidiah, because of the Lord. Now Joab fought against Rabbah, the city of Ammon, and took the royal city. And Joab sent messengers to David and said, I have fought against Rabbah, and have taken the city water supply. Now therefore gather the rest of the people together, and encamp against the city, and take it, lest I take the city, and it will be called after my name. So David gathered all the people together, and went to Rabbah, fought against it, and took it. Then he took their king's crown from his head. His weight was a talent of gold, with precious stones, and it was set on the David's head. Also he brought out the spoil of the city with great abundance, and he brought out the people who were in it, and put them in the work that with saws and iron picks and iron axes, and made them cross over to the brickworks. So he did to all the cities of the people of Ammon. And David and all the people returned to Jerusalem. Interesting chapter. Chapter number 12 is completed. Let me go to chapter number 13.
When peace like a river attended my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. Though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let this blessed assurance control. with my soul. Oh, it is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when the faith be slight. Oh, the faults be rolled back as a scroll. Oh, the trump will resound and the Lord will descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. Oh, it is well. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, yes, it is well with my soul.
Thanks, Brother Yasmin Soaring, for the song. Let me go to chapter number 13. Heading to the party's house to get stuff to finish a mud sink in a garbage for a friend. Okay, brother. Have a nice day and have some work to be done. Hope you finish all the works that you have said in this chat. And God be with you and God guide you. The God's peace and blessings be with you. Jess, hope you have a great day and God bless. After this, Absalom, the son of David, had a lovely sister whose name was Tamar, and Amnon, the son of David, loved her. Amnon was so distressed over his sister Tamar that he became sick, for she was a virgin. And it was improper for Amnon to do anything to her. But Ammon had a friend whose name was Jotham, the son of Shimeah, David's brother. Now Jotham was a very crafty man, and he said to him, "Why are you, the king's son, becoming thinner day after day? Will you not tell me?" Ammon said to him, "I love Tamar, my brother, as Absalom's sister." So Jotham said to him, "Lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, 'Please let my sister Tamar come and give me food, and prepare the food in my sight, that I may see it and eat it from your hand.'" Then Amnon lay down and pretended to be ill. And when the king came to see him, Amnon said to the king, "Please let Tamar, my sister, come and make a couple of cakes for me in my sight, that I may eat from her hand." And David said to Tamar, saying, "Now go to your brother Amnon's house and prepare food for me." So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he was lying down. Then she took flour and kneaded it, and made cakes in his sight, and baked the cakes. And she took the pan and placed them out before him, but he refused to eat. Then Ammon said, "Have everyone go out from me." And they all went out from him. Then Ammon said to Tamar, "Bring the food into the bedroom, that I may eat from you." And they all went out from him. Then Ammon said to Tamar, "Bring the food into the bedroom, that I may eat from your hand." And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them to Ammon, her brother, in the bedroom. Now when she had brought them to him, he He took hold of her and said to her, "Come lie with me, my sister." But she answered him, "No, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing should be done in Israel. Do not do this disgraceful thing, and where I could, I'd take my shame. As for you, you would be like one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore please speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you." However, he would not heed her voice, and being stronger than she, he forced her and lay with her. Okay. Then Ammon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love which he had loved her. And Ammon said to her, "Arise, be gone." So she said to her, "No, indeed, this evil of sending me away is worse than the other than you did to me." But he would not listen to her. Then he called his servant who attended him and said, "Here, put this woman out, away from me, and bolt the door behind her." Now she had a robe of many colors, for the king's virgin daughter wore such apparel. And his servants put her out and bolted the door behind her. Then Tamar put ashes on her head and tore a robe of many colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head, and went away crying, but bitterly. And Absalom, her brother, said to her, "Has Ammon your brother been with you? But now hold your peace, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this thing to heart." So Tamar remained desolated in her brother Absalom's house. But when King David heard of all these things, he was very angry. And Absalom spoke to his brother Ammon, neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Ammon, because he had forced his sister Tamar. And came to pass after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shears in Baal Azor, which is near Ephraim. So Absalom invited all the king's sons. Then Absalom came to the king and said, "Kindly note your servant as sheep shears. Please let the king and his servants go with your servant." But the king said to Absalom, "No, my son, let us not all go now, lest we be burdened to you." Then we urged him, but he would not go, and he blessed him. Then Absalom said, "If not, please let my brother Ammon go with us." And the king said to him, "Why should we go with you?" But Absalom urged him. So he urged Ammon and all the king's sons, "Go with him." Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, "Watch now when Ammon's heart is merry with wine. And when I say to you, strike Ammon, then kill him. Do not be afraid. Have I not commanded you, be courageous and valiant?" So the servants of Absalom did to Ammon as Absalom had commanded. And all the king's sons arose, and each one got on his mule and fled. And came to pass, while they were on their way, the news came to David, saying, "Absalom has killed all the king's sons, and not one of them is left." So the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the ground, and all his servants stood by with their clothes torn. Then Jonathan, the son of Shimeah, David's brother, answered and said, "Let not my lord suppose they have killed all the young men, the king's son, for only Ammon is dead. For by the command of Absalom this has been determined for the day he forced his sister Tamar. Now therefore let not my lord the king take the things of his heart, to think that all the king's sons are dead, for only Ammon is dead." Then Absalom fled, and the young man who was keeping watch lifted his eyes and looked, and there many people were coming from the road on the hillside behind him. And Jotham said to the king, "Look, the king's sons are coming, as your servant said." So it was, as soon as he had finished speaking, that the king's son indeed came, and they lifted up their voice and wept. Also the king and all his servants wept very bitterly. And Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammiud, the king of Geshur. David mourned for his son every day. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. And King David longed to go to Absalom, for he had comforted concerning Ammon, because he was dead. Chapter number 13 is completed. Chapter number 14. Let me play a song.
This is my father's world. my listening ears, all nature sings, and around me rings the music of the spheres. My Father's world, I rest in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas, His hand the wonders wrought. This is my Father's world. The birds their carols raise, the morning light, the lily white, He declares their Maker's free. This is my Father's world. He shines in all that's fair. In the rustling grass, I hear Him pass. He speaks to everywhere. This is my Father's world. Oh, let me nor forget that though the wrong seems so strong, God is the ruler, yeah. This is my Father's world. The battle is not done. Jesus who died shall be satisfied, and the earth and the heaven will be one. This is my Father's world. Oh, to my listening ears, oh, all nature sings, and around me rings the music of the spheres. This is my Father's world. The battle is not done. Jesus who died shall be satisfied, and the earth and the heaven will be one. Oh, this is my Father's world. Oh, this is my Father's world. That heaven and earth will become one. Oh, this is my Father's will. Oh, this is my Father's world. Heaven and earth will become one. This is my Father's world. Oh, this is my Father's world. Heaven and earth will be one.
brother Yasbil Sorin for another amazing song. So, First Samuel chapter 14, 2nd Samuel chapter 14. You know, we'll read 2nd Samuel chapter 14 right now. So Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that the king's heart was concerned about Absalom, and Joab sent to Tekoa and brought them there a wise woman, and said to her, "Please pretend to be a mourner, and put on mourning apparel, and do not anoint yourself with oil, but act like a woman who has been mourning for a long time. For the dead, go to the king and speak to him in this manner." So Joab put the words in her mouth, and when woman of Tekoa spoke to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and prostrated herself and said, "Help, O king." Then the king said to her, "What troubles you?" And she answered, "Indeed, I am a widow. My husband is dead. Now your maidservant had two sons, and the two fought with each other in the field, and there was no one to part them. But the one struck the other and killed him. Now the whole family has risen against your maidservant." And they said, "Deliver him who struck his brother, that we may execute him for the life of his brother whom he killed, and we will destroy their hair also." So they would extinguish my ember that is left, and leave to my husband neither name nor remnant on the earth. Then the king said to the woman, "Go to your house, and I will give you orders concerning you." And the woman of Tekoa said to the king, "My lord, O king, let the iniquity be on me, and be on my father's house. The king and his throne be guiltless." So the king said, "Whoever says anything to you, bring him to me, and he shall not touch you any more." Then she said, "Please let the king remember the Lord your God, and do not permit the avenge of your blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son." And he said, "As the Lord lives, not one hair of your son shall fall to the ground." Therefore the woman shall said, "Please let your maidservants speak another word to my lord king." And he said, "Say on." So the woman said, "Why then have you schemed such a thing against the people of God? For the king speaks that these things as one who is guilty, in that king does not bring his banished one home again. For we will surely die and became like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. Yet God does not take away a life, but he devises means so that he banishes ones and not expelled from him. Now therefore I have come to speak these things to my lord the king, because the people have made me afraid. And you maidservant said, I will now speak to the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his maidservant. For the king will hear and deliver his maidservant from the hand of the man who would destroy me and my son together from the inheritance of God. Your maidservant said, The word of my lord the king will now be comforting. For as the angel of the God, so is my lord the king is discerning good and evil, and may the Lord your God be with you. Then the king answered and said to the woman, Please do not hide from me anything that I ask you. And the woman said, Please let my lord the king speak. So the king said, Is the hand of Joab with you in all is this? And the woman answered and said, As you live, my lord the king, no one can turn to the right hand or to the left from anything that my lord the king has spoken. For your servant Joab commanded me, and he put all these words in the mouth of your maidservant, to bring about these changes of affairs. Your servant Joab has done these things. But my Lord is wise, according to the wisdom of the angel of God, to know everything that is in the earth. The king said to Joab, All right, I have granted these things. Go therefore, bring back the young man Absalom. Then Joab fell to the ground on his face and bowed himself and thanked the king. And Joab said, Today your servant knows that I have found favor in your sight, my lord, O king, in that the king has fulfilled the request of his servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. The king said, Let him return to his own house, but do not let him see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house, but did not see the king's face. Now in all Israel there was no one who was praised as much as Absalom for his good looks. For the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. And when he cut the hair of his head at the end of every year, he cut it because it was heavy on him. When he cut it, he weighted the hair of the head at 200 shekels, according to the king's standard. To Absalom were born 3 sons and one daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of beautiful appearance. And Absalom dwelled 2 full years in Jerusalem, but did not see the king's face. Therefore Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, but he would not come to him. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come. So he said to his servants, "See, Joab's field is near mine, and he is barely there. Go and set it on fire." And Absalom's servants set the field on fire. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom's house and said to him, "Why have your servants set my field on fire?" And Absalom answered and Joab, "Look, I sent to you, saying, Come here, so that I may send you to the king to say, Why have I come from Geshur? It would be better for me to be there still. Now therefore let me see the king's face, but if there is iniquity in me, let him execute me." So Joab went to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. Then the king kissed Absalom. Chapter number 14 is completed. A lot of history behind this chapter. Uh, Let me go to chapter number 15. So 10 more chapters, and that will be the end of 2nd Samuel. So my stream so far is good. There's no lag in my stream. So let me continue reading chapter number 15. After this, it happened that Absalom provided himself with chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. Now Absalom would rise early and stand beside the way to gate. So it was wherever anyone who had lawsuit came to the king for a decision, that Absalom would call to him and say, "What city are you from? Are you from?" And he would say, "Your servant is from such and such a tribe of Israel." Then Absalom would say to him, "Look, your case is good and right, but there is no deputy of the king to hear you." Moreover, Absalom would say, "Oh, that I were made judge in the land, and everyone who has any suit or cause would come to me, then I would give him justice." And so it was, wherever anyone came near to bow down to him, that he would put out his hand and take him and kiss him. In this matter, Absalom acted towards all Israel who came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. Now it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said to the king, "Please let me go to Hebron and pay the vow which I made to the Lord." For your servant took a vow while I dwelt at Geshur in Zivia, saying, the Lord indeed brings me back to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. The king said to him, go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. Then Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, as soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then you shall say, Absalom reigns in Hebron. And with Absalom went 200 men invited from Jerusalem, and they went along innocently and did not know anything. Then Absalom sent from Ahithophel, Ahithophel, Ethiopia, the Gilgonite, David counselor from his city, from Gilo, while he offered sacrifice, and they conspired grew stronger, for the people with Absalom continually increased in number. Now a messenger came to David, saying, the hearts of the men of Israel are with Absalom. So David said to all the servants who were with him at Jerusalem, arise and let us flee, or shall not escape from Absalom. Make haste to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly and bring disaster upon us, and strike the city with the edge of the sword. The king's servant said to the king, we are your servants, ready to do whatever my lord the king commands. And the king went out with all his household after him. But the king left 10 women concubines to keep the house. The king went out with all the people after him, and he stopped the outskirts. Then all the servants passed before him, and all the Cherusites, all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites, and 600 men who had followed him from Gath passed before the king. Then the king said to Ittai the Gittite, why are you also going with us? Return and remain with the king, for you are a foreigner and also an exile from your own place. In fact, you came only yesterday. Should I make you wander up and down with us today? Since I go, I know not where return, and take your brethren back, mercy and truth be with you. But Ittai answered the king and said, as the Lord lives, and also my lord the king lives, surely in whatever place my lord the king shall be, wherever in death or life, even there also your servant will be. So David said to Ittai, go and cross over. Then Ittai the Gittite and all his men and all the little ones who were with him crossed over, and all the country wept with loud voice, and all the people crossed over. The king himself also crossed over the brook Kidron, and all the people crossed over towards the way of the wilderness. There was Zadok also, and all the Levites with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of the God, and Abidar went up until all the people had finished crossing over. Then the king crossing over the city. Then the king said to Zadok, carry the ark of the God back to the city. If I find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me back and show me both it and its dwelling places. But if he says thus, I have no delight in you, here I am, let him do to me as seems good to him. And the king also said to Zadok the priest, are you not a seer? Return to the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Abimaaz your son, and Jonathan the son of Abidar. See, I will wait in the plains of the wilderness until the word comes from you to inform me. Therefore Zadok the Abidar carried the ark of the God back to Jerusalem, and they remained there. So David went up to the ascent of the Mount of Olives, and went as he went up, and he had his head covered, and went barefoot. And all the people who were within covered their heads, and went up weeping as they went up. Then someone told David, saying, Ethiopia is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray turn the counsel of Ethiopia into foolishness. Now it happened when David had come to the top of the mountain where he worshipped God, there was Usai the Archite coming to meet with his robe torn and dust on his head. David said to him, if you go on with me, then you will become a burden to me. But if you return to the city and say to Absalom, I will be your servant, O king, as I was your father's servant previously, so I will now also be your servant. Then you may defeat the counsel of Ethiopia for me, and do not have Zadok and Abidar the priest with you there. Therefore it will be that whatever you hear from the king's house, you shall tell to Zadok and Abidar the priest. Indeed, they have there with them 2 sons, Abimaaz, Zadok's son, and Jonathan, Abidar's son, and by them you shall send me everything you hear. So Hushai, David's friend, went to the city, and Absalom came into Jerusalem. So, interesting chapter. Chapter number 15 is completed. Now David escapes from Jerusalem. So 9 more chapters. So let me go to chapter number 16. When David was a little past the top of the mountain, there was Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, who met with him with a couple of saddled donkeys, and on them 200 loaves of bread, and 100 cluster of raisins, and 100 summer fruits, and a skin of wine. The king said to Ziba, "What do you mean to do these things?" Ziba said, "The donkeys are for the king's household to ride on, the bread and the summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine for those who are faint in the wilderness to drink." And the king said, "And where is your master's son?" And Ziba said to the king, "Indeed, he is staying in Jerusalem, for he said, 'Today the house of Israel will restore the kingdom of my father to me.'" So the king said to Ziba, "Here all that belongs to Mephibosheth is yours." And Ziba said, "I humbly bow before you, that I may find favor in your sight, my lord, O king." Now when King David came to Bahurim, there was a man from the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, son of Gera, coming from there. He came out, cursing continually as he came, and he threw stones at David and at all the servants of King David. And all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand, on his left. Also Shimei said thus when he cursed, come out, you bloodthirsty man, you rogue. The Lord has brought upon you all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose place you have reigned. The Lord has delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom, your son. So now you are caught in your own evil, because you are a bloodthirsty man." And Abishai, the son of Zerah, said to the king, "Why should this dead dog curse my lord, the king? Please let me go over and take off his head." But the king said, What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord has said, Curse David. Who then shall say, Why have you done so? And David said to Abishai and all his servants, See how my son, who came from my own body, seeks my life. How much more now may this Benjaminite? Let him alone and let him curse, so the Lord has ordered him. It may be that the Lord will look on my afflictions, and that the Lord will repay me with good for this cursing this day." And as David and his men went along the road, Shimei went along the hillside opposite him, and cursed as he went, threw stones at him, and kicked up dust. Now the king and all the people who were with him became weary, so they refreshed themselves there. Meanwhile Absalom and all the people and the men of Israel came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel was with him. And so it was when Uzzah the Architect, David's friend, came to Absalom, that Uzzah said to Absalom, "Long live the king, long live the king." So Absalom said to Uzzah, "Is this your loyalty to your friend? Why did you not go with your friend?" And Uzzah said to Absalom, "No, but whom the Lord and this people and all the men of Israel choose is I will be, and with I will remain. Furthermore, whom shall I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son? As I have served in your father's presence, so will I be in your presence." Then Absalom said to Ahithophel, "Give advice as to what we should do." And Ahithophel said to Absalom, "Go in to your father's concubines, who he was left to keep the house, and all Israel will hear that you are abhorred by your father. Then the hands of all who are with you will be strong." So they pitched a tent from Absalom on the top of the house, and Absalom went into the father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. Now the advice of Ahithophel, which he gave in those days, was, if one had inquired of the oracle of God, so was all the advice of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. Chapter number 16 is completed. Let me go to chapter number 17. Moreover, Ahithophel said to Absalom, "Now let me choose 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue David tonight. I will come upon him while he is weary and weak, and make him afraid, and all the people who are with him will flee, and I will strike only the king. Then I will bring back the people to you. When all return, except the man who seek, and all the people will be at peace. And the saying pleased Absalom and all the leaders of elders of Israel. Then Absalom said, now call Usha the Archite also, and let us hear what he says to. And when Usai came to Absalom, Absalom spoke to him, saying, Ethiopia has spoken in this manner. Shall we do as he says? If not, speak up. So Ushai said to Absalom, the advice that Ethiopia has given is not good at this time. For said Usai, you know your father and his men, that they are mighty men, and they are enraged in their mind, like a bear robbed of her cubs in the field. And your father is a man of war, and will not camp with the people. Surely by now he is hidden in some pit or in some other place. And it will be when some of them are overthrown at the first, that whoever hears it will say, there is a slaughter among the people, follow Absalom. And even he who is valiant, whose heart is like the heart of a lion, will melt completely. For all Israel knows that your father is a mighty man, and those who are with him are valiant men. Therefore I advise that all Israel be fully gathered to you, from Dan to Beersheba, like the sand that is by the sea of the multitude, and that you go to the battle in the person. So we will come upon him in some place where he may found, and we will fall on him, and the dew falls on the ground, and of him and all the men who are with him, there shall not be left so much as one. Moreover, if he has withdrawn into the city, then all Israel shall bring ropes to that city, and we will pull it into the river until there is not one small stone found there. So Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the advice of Usha the Archite is better than the advice of Ethiopia. For the Lord had purposely to defeat the good advice of Ethiopia, to the intent that the Lord might bring disaster to Absalom. Then Usai said to Zadok and Abida the priest, thus and so Ethiopia advised Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus and so I advise. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, do not spend the night in the plains of the wilderness, but speedily cross, and lest the king and all the people who are with him be swallowed. And Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed at En Rogel, and they dared not to see coming into the city. So a female servant would come and tell them, and they would go and tell King David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them, and they told Absalom. Both of them went away quickly and came to a man's house in Barum, who had Joel in his coat, and they went down into it. Then the woman took and spread a covering cover over the well's mouth, and spread ground grain on it, and the thing was not known. And when Absalom's servant came to the woman at the house, they said, where are Abies and Jonathan? The woman said to them, they have gone over the water brook. And when they had searched and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. Now it came to pass after they had departed that they came up out of the well and went to tell King David, and said to David, arise and cross over the water quickly, for thus has Topel advised against you. So David and all the people who were with him arose and crossed over the Jordan by morning light. Not one of them was left who had not gone over Jordan. Now when Topel saw that his advice was not followed, he saddled the donkey and arose and went home to his house, to his city. Then he put his household in order and hanged himself and died, and he was buried in his father's tomb. Then David went to Mahanaim, and Absalom crossed over the Jordan, he and all the men of Israel with him. And Absalom made Amasa captain of an army instead of Joab. This Absalom was the son of a man whose name was Jithra, an Israelite, who had gone in to Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, sister of Zeruiah, Joab's mother. So Israel and Absalom encamped in the land of Gilgad. Now it happened when David had come to Mahanaim, that Shobi the son of Nahash from Rabbah of the people of Ammon, Mashi the son of Amil from Lo Tibar, and Barzillai the Gileadite from Rogilam brought beds and basins, earthen vessels, and wheat, barley, flour, parched grain and beans, lentils and pot seeds, honey and curds, sheep and cheese of herd from David and the people who were with him to eat. For they said, the people are hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. Chapter number 17 is completed. So the story continues about David, the wilderness story. Okay, this is going to be an interesting chapter because Absalom's defeat and death. Chapter number 18. And David numbered the people who were with him, and set the captains of thousands, the captains of hundreds over them. And David set out 1/3 of the people under the hand of Joab, 1/3 under the hand of Abishai, the son of Zurah, Joab's brother, and 1/3 of the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and 1/3 under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said to the people, I also will surely go out with you myself. But the people answered, You shall not go out, for if we flee away, they will not care about us. Nor if half of us die, we they care about us. But you are worth 10,000 of us now, for you are now more help to us in that city. The king said to them, Whatever seems best to you, I will do. So the king stood besides the gate, and all the people went out by hundreds and by thousands. Now the king had commanded Joab, Abishai, and Ittai, saying, Deal gently for my sake with the young man Absalom. And all the people heard when the king gave all the captains orders concerning Absalom. So the people went out into the field of battle against Israel, and the battle was in the woods of Ephraim. The people of Israel were overthrown there before the servants of David. A great slaughter of 20,000 took place there that day. For the battle there was scattered over the face of the whole countryside, and the woods devoured more people that the day than the sword devoured. Then Absalom met the servants of David. Absalom rode on a mule. The mule went under the thick boughs of a great terebinth tree, and his head caught in the terebinth, so he was left hanging between heaven and earth. And the mule which was under him went on. Now a certain man saw it and told Joab, and said, I just saw Absalom hanging in the terebinth tree. So Joab said to the man who told him, You just saw him? And why did you not strike him there to the ground? I would have given you 10 shekels of silver and a belt. But the man said to Joab, Though I were to receive 1,000 shekels of silver in my hand, I would not raise my hand against the king's son. For in our hearing that the king commanded you and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Beware lest anyone touch the young man Absalom, otherwise I would have dealt falsely against my own life. For there is nothing hidden from the king, and you yourself would have set yourself against me. Then Joab said, I cannot linger with you. And he took the 3 spears in his hand and thrust them through Absalom's heart while he was still alive, in the midst of the terebinth tree. And 10 young men who bore Joab's armor surrounded Absalom and struck and killed him. So Joab blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing Israel. For Joab held back the people, and they took Absalom and cast him into the large pit in the woods, and laid a very large heap of stones over him. Then all the Israel fled, everyone to his tent. Now Absalom in his lifetime had taken and set up a pillar for himself, which is in the king's valley. For he said, I have no son to keep my name in remembrance. He called the pillar after his own name, and to this day it is called Absalom's monument. Then Ahimaaz the son of Zadok said, Let me run now and take the news to the king, how the Lord has avenged him of his enemies. And Joab said to him, You shall not take the news to this day, for you shall take the news another day, but today you shall take no news, because the king's son is dead. Then Joab said to the Cushites, Go tell the king what you have seen. So the Cushites bowed himself to Joab and ran. And Ahimaaz the son of Zadok said again to Joab, But whatever happens, please let me know. Run after the Cushites. So Joab said, Why will you run, my son, since you have no news ready? But whatever happens, he said, Let me run. So he said to him, Run. Then Ahimaaz ran by way of the plain, and they outraged the Cushites. Now David was sitting between the 2 gates, and then the watchman went up to the roof over the gate to the wall, and lifted his eyes, and looked, there was a man running alone. Then the watchman cried out and told the king. The king said, If he is alone, there is a noose in his mouth. And he came rapidly and drew near. Then the watchman saw another man running. The watchman called to the gatekeeper and said, there is another man running alone. The king said, he also brings news. So the watchman said, I think the running of the first is like the running of Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok. The king said, he is a good man and comes with the good news. So Ahimaaz called out and said to the king, all is well. Then he bowed down with his face to the earth before the king and said, blessed be the Lord your God, who has delivered up the man who raised his hand against my lord, the king. The king said, is the young man Absalom safe? And Ahimaaz said, when Joab sent the king's servant and me, your servant, I saw a great tumult, but I did not know what it was. The king said, turn aside and stand here. So he turned aside and stood still. Just then the Cushites came, and the Cushites said, there is good news, my lord, the king, for the Lord has avenged you this day of all those who rose against you. The king said to the Cushite, is the young man Absalom safe? So the Cushite answered, may the enemies of my lord, the king, and all who rise against you to do harm be like that young man. Then the king was deeply moved and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And as he went, he said thus, O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, if only I have died in your place. O Absalom, my son, my son. So the end of Absalom is chapter number 18. Let me go to chapter number 19. And Joab was told, behold, the king is weeping and mourning for Absalom. So the victory that day was turned into mourning for all the people. For the people heard it and said that day, the king is grieved for his son. The people stole back into the city that day as people who are ashamed and steal away when they flee in battle. The king covered his face, and the king cried out with a loud voice, O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son. Then Joab came into the house of the king and said, today you have disgraced all your servants, whom today I have saved your life, the lives of your sons and daughters, the life of your wives, and the lives of your concubines, in that you love your enemies and hate your friends. For you have declared today that you regard neither princes nor servants. For today I perceive that if Absalom had lived, and all of us have died today, then it would have pleased you well. Now therefore arise, and go out and speak, and comfort to your servants. For I swear by the Lord, if you do not go out, not one will stay with you this night, and this will be the worse for you than all the evil that has befallen you for your youth until now. Then the king arose and sat in the gate, and they told all the people, saying, there is a king sitting in the gate. So all the people came before the king, for every one of Israel had fled to his tent. Now all the people were in dispute throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, the king saved us from the hand of our enemies, he delivered us from the hand of the Philistines, and now he has fled from the land because of Absalom. But Absalom, whom we anointed over us, has died in battle. Now therefore why do you say nothing about bringing back the king? So King David sent to Zadok and Abidar the priests, saying, speak to the elders of Judah, saying, why are you lost to bring the king back to his house, since the words of all Israel have come to the king, whose this very house? You are my brethren, you are my bone and my flesh. Why then you are the last to bring back the king, and say to Amasa, are you not my bone and my flesh? God do so to me, and more so, if you are not commander of the army before me, continually in the place of Joab. So he swore the hearts of all men of Judah, just as the heart of one man, so that they send his words to the king, return you and all your servants. Then the king returned and came to Jordan, and Judah came to Gilgal to go and meet the king, to escort the king across the Jordan. And Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjaminite, was from Bahurim, hurried and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. There were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul, with his 50 sons and 20 servants with him, and they went over to Jordan before the king. Then a ferry boat went across to carry over the king's household and do what he thought good. Now Shimei, the son of Gera, fell down before the king when he crossed the Jordan. Then he said to the king, "Do not let my lord impute iniquity to me, or remember what wrong your servant did on that day that my lord the king left Jerusalem, that the king should take to the heart. For I, your servant, know that I have sinned. Therefore, here I am, the first to come today of all the house of Joseph, to go down to meet my lord the king." But Abishai, the son of Zurah, answered and said, "Shall not Shimei be put to death for his because he cursed the Lord's anointed?" David said, "What have I do with you, you sons of Syria, that you should be adversaries to me today? Shall any man be put to death today in Israel? For do I not know that today I am the king over Israel?" Therefore the king said to Shimei, "You shall not die." And the king swore to him. Now Mephibosheth, the son of Saul, came down to meet the king, and he had not cared for his feet, nor trimmed his moustache, nor washed his clothes, from the day the king departed until the day he returned in peace. So it was when he had come to Jerusalem to meet the king said to him, "Why did you not go with me, Mephibosheth?" And he answered, "My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For your servant said, I will saddle a donkey for myself, that I may ride on it and go to the king, because your servant is a lame. And he had slandered your servant to my lord the king. But my lord the king is like an angel of God. Therefore do what is good in your eyes. For all my father's house were but dead men before the Lord of king. Yet you set your servants among those who eat at your own table. Therefore what's right have I still to cry out any more to the king?" So the king said to him, "Why do you speak any more of your matters? I have said, you and Ziba divide the land." Then Mehi- Mephibosheth said to the king, "Rather let him take it all, inasmuch as my lord the king has come back in peace to his own house." And Barzillai the Gilgalite came down from Rochel and went across Jordan with the king to escort him across the Jordan. Now Barzillai was a very aged man, 80 years old, and he had provided the king with supplies while he stayed at Mahanaim, for he was a very rich man. The king said to Barzillai, "Come across with me, and I will provide for you while you are with me in Jerusalem." But Barzillai said to the king, "How long have I to live that I should go up with the king to Jerusalem? I am today 80 years old. Can I discern between good and bad? Can you serve and taste what I eat or what I drink? Can I hear any longer the voice of the singing men and singing women? Why then should I serve and be a further burden to my lord the king? The servant will go a little way across the Jordan with the king. And why should the king repay with me such a reward? Please let your servant turn back again, that I may die in my own city near the grave of my father and my mother. But hear your servant Chimnah, let him cross over with my lord the king, and do for him what seems good." The king answered, "Shimnah shall cross over with me, and I will do for him what seems good to you. Now whatever you request of me, I will do for you." Then all the people went over to Jordan, and when the king had crossed over, the king kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned to his own place. Now the king went to Gilgal, and Shimha went on with him. And all the people of Judah escorted the king, and also half of the people of Israel. Just then all the men of Israel came to the king and said to the king, "Why have our brethren, the men of Judah, stolen you always, and brought the king, his household, and all the David's men with him across the Jordan?" So all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, "Because the king is a close relative of ours, why then are you angry over this matter? Have we ever eaten at the king's expense, or has given us any gift?" The men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, "We have 10 shares in the king, therefore we also have more right to David than you. Why then do you despise us? Were we not the first to advise bringing back our king?" Yet the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel. Chapter number 19 is completed. Let me go to chapter number 20. And there happened to be there a rebel whose name was Sheba, the son of Bishri, Benjaminite. And he blew a trumpet and said, "We have no share in David, nor do we have inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tents, O Israel." So every man of Israel deserted David and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah from Jordan as far as Jerusalem remained loyal to their king. Now David came to his house at Jerusalem and the king took 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to him the house, and put them in seclusion and supported them. Okay, sorry for the pronunciation. Seclusion or seclusion, supported them, but did not go into them. So they were shut up to the day of their death, living in widowhood. The king said to Amsa, "Assemble the men of Judah for me within 3 days, and be present here yourself." So Amsa went to the assembly, the men of Judah, but he delayed longer than the set time which David has appointed him. The David said to Abishai, "Now Sheba the son of Bishri will do us more harm than Absalom. Take your servant, Lord's servant, and pursue him, lest he find you himself fortified cities and escape us." So Joab men with the Cherethites, the Pelethites, and all the mighty men went out after him. And they went out of Jerusalem to pursue Sheba the son of Bishri. And when they were at the large stone which is in Gibeon, Amsa came before them. Now Joab was dressed in battle armor. On it was a belt with a sword fastened in his sheath at his hips, and he was going forward and fell down. And Joab said to Amsa, "Are you in health, my brother?" And Joab took Amsa by the beard with his right hand to kiss him. But Amsa did not notice the sword that was in Joab's hand, and he struck him with it in his stomach, and his entrails poured out on the ground, and he did not strike him again. Thus he died. Then Joab and Abishai's brother pursued Sheba the son of Bishri. Meanwhile one of the Joab's men stood near Amsa and said, "Whoever favors Joab and whoever is for David, follow Joab." But Amsa wallowed his blood in the middle of the highway, and when the men saw that all the people stood still, he moved Amsa from highway to the field, and threw a garment over him. And then he saw that everyone who came upon him halted. And when he was removed from the highway, all the people went on after Joab to pursue Sheba the son of Bishri. And when he went through all the tribes of Israel to Abel and Beth Masha and all the Berechites, so they were gathered together and also went after Sheba. Then they came and besieged him in Abel of Beth Basha. They cast up a siege mount against the city, and it stood up by the rampart. And all the people who were within Joab battered the wall to throw it down. Then a wise woman cried out from the city, "Here, here, please stay to Joab. Come nearby, that I may speak with you." When he had come near to her, the woman said, "Are you Joab?" He answered, "I am." Then he said to him, "Hear the words of the maidservants." And he answered, "I am listening." So he spoke, saying, "They used to talk in a former time, saying, They shall surely seek guidance at Abel, and so they would end disputes. I am among the peaceful and faithful in Israel, and you seek to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why would you swallow up the inheritance of the Lord?" And Joab answered and said, far be it for me that I should swallow up or destroy. It is not so, but a man from the mountains of Ephraim, Sheba the son of Bishri by name, and raised his hand against the king, against David, and delivered him only, and I will depart from the city. So the woman said to Joab, "Watch his head will be thrown to you over the wall." Then the woman in the wisdom went to all the people, and they cut off the head, and Sheba son of Bishri, and threw it out to Joab. Then he blew a trumpet, and they withdrew from the city, every man to his tent. So Joab returned to the king at Jerusalem, and Joab was over all the army of Israel. Biana the son of Jehoiada was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites. Adoram was in charge of revenue. Jehoshaphat the son of Hilod was a recorder. Shiva was a scribe. Zadok and Abidar were the priest, and Ira the Jerite was a chief minister under David. Chapter number 20 is completed. So four more chapters, and that will be Second Samuel. Book of Second Samuel will be completed. Now there was a famine in the days of David for 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered, "It is because of Saul and his bloodthirsty house, because he killed the Gibeonites." The king called the Gibeonites and spoke to them. Now the Gibeonites were not the children of Israel, but the remnant of the Amorites. The children of Israel had shown protection to them, but Saul had sought to kill them in his zeal for the children of Israel and Judah. Therefore David said to the Gibeonites, "What shall I do for you? And with what shall I make an atonement that you may bless the inheritance of the Lord?" And the Gibeonites said to him, "We will have no silver or gold from Saul or from his house, nor shall you kill any man in Israel for us." So he said, "Whatever you say, I will do for you." Then they answered the king, "As for the men who consumed us and plotted against us, that we should be destroyed from the remaining in any of the territories of Israel, let 7 men of his descendants be delivered to us, and we will hang them before the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord choose." The king said, "I will give them." But the king spared Rehobish, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. So the king took Armoni and Mehibosh, the 2 sons of Zippah, the daughter of Aiah, who she bore Saul, and 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought out from Adiel, the son of Barzillai, the Meholite, and he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites. They hanged them on the hill before the Lord. So they fell all 7 together, and they were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days, in the beginning of the barley harvest. Now Zippah, the daughter of Aiah, took sackcloth and spread it for herself on the rock from the beginning of harvest until the late rains poured on them from heaven, and she did not allow the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. David was told that Mizpah, the daughter of Aiah, the concubine of Saul, was done. Then David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Gabish, Gilgad, who had stolen them from the street of Bethshah, where the Philistines had hung them up. After the Philistines had struck down Saul in Gilboa, so he brought up the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from there, and they gathered the bones of those who had been hanged. And they buried the bones of Saul and Jonathan his son in the country of Benjamin, in Zelah, the tomb of Kish his father. So they performed all the king commanded, and after that the God heeded the prayers from the land. And when the Philistines were at war again with Israel, David and his servants with him went down and fought against the Philistines, and David grew faint. Then Ishbosheth, who was one of the sons of the giant, the weight of those bronze spear was 300 shekels, was bearing a new sword, thought he would kill David. But Abishai the son of Zerubbabel came to his aid and struck the Philistines and killed him. Then the men of David swore to him, saying, "Who shall go out no more with us to battle, lest you Cush the lamp of Israel?" Now it happened afterwards that there was again a battle with the Philistines at Gob. Then the Shebash Cushite killed Shab, who was one of the sons of the giant. And again there was a war at Gob with the Philistines, where Elhanan, the son of Jar Orgiam, the Bethlehemite, killed the brother of Goliath the Gittite, the shaft of whose spear was like a weaver beam. Yet again there was a war at Gad, where there was a man of a great stature who has 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in number, and he was also born to the giant. So when he defeated Israel, Jonathan the son of Shimeah, David's brother, killed him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gad, and fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servant. Chapter number 21 is completed. 3 more chapters, and with that, my task will be completed. David spoke to the Lord's words, chapter number 22. And David spoke to the Lord the words of the song on the day when the Lord had delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. And he said, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. the God of my strength in whom I will trust, my shield and horn of my salvation, my stronghold and my refuge, my Savior who saved me from violence. I will call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. When the waves of death surround me, the floods of ungodliness made me afraid. The sorrows of Sheol surrounded me, the snares of death comforted me. In my distress, I called upon the Lord and cried out to my God, and he heard my voice from his temple, and my cry entered his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundation of the heaven quaked and were shaken, because he was angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and devoured fire from his mouth. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down with darkness under his feet. He rode up a cherub and flew, and he was seen up into the wings of the wind. He made darkness canopies around him, dark waters and thick clouds of skies from the brightness before him. Coals of fire were kindled. The Lord's thunder from heaven, the Most High uttered his voice. He sent out arrows and scattered them. Lightning bolts, he vanquished them. When the channels of the sea were seen, the foundations of the world were uncovered, and at the rebuke of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils, he sent from above. He took me, and he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, for those who hated me, for they were too strong for me. They comforted me in that day of the calamity. But the Lord was my support. He also brought me out into the broader place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness of my hands. He has recompensed me, for I have kept the ways of the Lord, and I have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his judgments were before me, and all for his statutes. I did not depart from there. I was also blameless before him, and I kept myself from my iniquity. Therefore the Lord has recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his eyes. The merciful you will show yourself merciful. The blameless man you will show yourself blameless. The pure you will show yourself pure. And the devious you will show yourself shrewd. You will save the humble people, but your eyes are on the naughty, that you may bring them down. For you are my lamp, O Lord. The Lord shall enlighten my darkness. For by you I can run against a troop. For my God I can leap over a wall. As for God, his ways is perfect. The word of the Lord is proven. He is a shield to all who trust in him. For who is God except the Lord? And who is a rock except our God? God is my strength and power. He makes my way perfect. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer, and sets me on my high places. He teaches my hands to make war, so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze. You also have given me the shield of your salvation. Your gentleness has made me great. You enlarged my path under me, so my feet did not slip. I have pursued my enemies and destroyed them. Neither did I turn back till they were destroyed, for I have destroyed them and wounded them, so that they could not rise. They have fallen under my feet, for you have armed me with strength for the battle. You have subdued under me those who are rose against me. You have also given me the necks of my enemies, so that I destroyed those who hated me. They looked, but there was none to save, even to the Lord, but he did not answer them. Then I beat them as fine as the dust of the earth. I trod them like a dirt in the streets, and I spread them out. You have also delivered me from the strivings of my people. You have kept me as a head of the nations. As people I have not known shall serve me. The foreigners submit to me. As soon as they hear me, they obey me. The foreigners fade away, and they have come frightening from their hideouts. The Lord lives. Blessed be my rock. Let God be exalted, the rock of my salvation. It is God who avenges me and subdues the people under me. He delivers me from my enemies. You also lift me up above those who rise against me. You are delivering me from the violent men. Therefore I give thanks to you, O Lord, among the Gentiles, and sing praises to your name. Here is the tower of salvation to his kings, and show mercy to his anointed, David and his descendants forevermore. Chapter number 22. It's almost like reading a psalm. 2 more chapters. Let me go. I was thinking of drinking a water, but no, let me read it. Let me complete this book, then I may take a sip of water. Now these are the Lord's words These are the last words of David. Thus says David, the son of Jesse. Thus says the man rise up on high, the anointed of God of Jacob, the sweet psalmist of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord spoke by me, and his word was on my tongue. God of Israel said, the rock of Israel spoke to me. He who rules over men must be just, ruling in fear of God. And he shall be like the light of the morning when the sun rises, a morning without clouds, like the tender grass springing out of the earth, like clear shining after the rain. Although my house is not so with God, yet he has made with me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all the things and secure, for this is all my salvation and all my desire. Will he not make it increase? But the sons of revelation shall all be as thrones thrust away, because they cannot be taken with hands. But the man who touches them must be alarmed with iron and shaft of spear, and they shall be utterly burned with fire in their place. These are the names of the mighty men whom David had: Joshab, Bashimath, the Tashmor, chief among the captains. He was called Adino the Isai, because he has killed 80 men at one time. And after him was Elsa the son of Toda, the Hauthite, one of the three mighty men in David. When they defiled the Philistines who were gathered there for battle, the men of Israel had retreated. He rose and attacked the Philistines under his hand, was weary, and his hand struck to the sword. The Lord brought about a great victory that day, and the people returned after him, only to plunder. And after him was Shammah, son of the Agi, the Arabite. The Philistines had gathered together into a troop, where there was a piece of ground full of lentils. So the people fled to the Philistines, but he stationed himself in the middle of the field, defended it, and killed the Philistines. So the Lord brought about a great victory. Then 3 of the 30 chief men went down at the harvest time and came to David at the cave of Adullam. The troops of the Philistines encamped in the valley of Rephaim. David was there in the stronghold, and the garrisons of the Philistines was there in Bethlehem. David said with longing, oh, that someone would give me a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. So the 3 mighty men broke through the camp of the Philistines, drew water from the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, he would not drink, but poured it out of the Lord. And he said, far be it from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Is this not the blood of the men who went into jeopardy of their lives? Therefore he would not drink it. These things were done by the 3 mighty men. Now Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zerub, the chief of the other 3, he lifted the spear against 300 men, killed them, and won a name among these 3. Was he not the most honored of 3? Therefore he became their captain. However, he did not attain to the first 3. Benaiah was the son of Joiada, the son of valiant man from Kabis, who had done many deeds. He had killed 2 lions like heroes of Moab. He also had gone down and killed the lion in the midst of a pit on a snowy day. And he killed an Egyptian and a spectacular man. An Egyptian had a spear with his hand. These things Benaiah the son of Joab did, and won the name among the 3 mighty men. He was more honored than the 30, but he did not attain to the first 3, and David appointed him over his guard. Ashiel the brother of Joab was one of the 30, Eliam the son of Tota of Bethlehem, Shammah the Haratite, Elikah the Haratite, Elsa the Palatite, Ira the son of Ikash, the Tekoid, Abizar the Anathite, Mehuniah the Ushatite, Zalom the Hawatite, Maharai the Nehophitite, Elam the son of Ban, Ittai the son of Ribal from Gibeah of the children of Benjamin, Peniah a Pirot, Ittai from the brooks of Gash, Abi Alom from Arbadite, Asmavet the Margumite, Eliahaba the Shalmonite, of the sons of Jashan, Jonathan, Shammah the Aratite, I am the son of Shara the Aratite, Eliphilad the son of Haishabai, the son of Mashtite, Eliam the son of Ethiopia, the Gilotite, Isai the Carmelite, Azza the Arbatite, Ikal the son of Nathan of Zobah, Bani the Gattite, Selach the Amortite, Nahare the Beerothite, Armbeer of Joab the son of Zeruiah, Ira the Ithrite, Caleb the Ithrite, and Uriah the Hittite, the 37 in all. So chapter number 23 is completed. To be honest, this chapter is almost like a tongue twister challenge. I almost participated in a tongue twister challenge, it was good. So here I am, the final chapter, and that will be Second Samuel will be completed. So tomorrow I'll be not reading the Bible. Tomorrow is Sunday. So actually it's Sunday right now. So welcome to the second month. This is February 1 in my place. So 1 month is completed. How was your month? Did you did everything went fine for you? 31 days has been completed in this year. So how was your month of January? I think from my perspective, from my how was my month? How was my did I achieve my goals in the month of January? I would say yes, but some things I didn't achieve. But yeah, it's all part and parcel of the life. Sometimes we can do, sometimes we don't, sometimes we fail. So in regarding to the Bible reading and regarding to doing some other stuffs I've done, but there are some things to be done. My goals. So hopefully February will be a blessed month, not only to me but to everybody. So let me read the final chapter of 2 Samuel, chapter number 24. Again, the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel, and he moved David against to say, Go number Israel and Judah. So the king said to Joab, the commander of the army, who was with him, Now go throughout all the tribes of Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, and count the people, that I may know the number of the people. So Joab said to the king, Now may the Lord your God add to the people 100 times more than there are, and may the eyes of my lord the king see it. But why does my lord the king decide these things? Nevertheless, the king word prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the army. Therefore Joab and the captains of the army went out from the presence of the king to count the people of the Israel. They crossed over to the Jordan and encamped in Arori on the right side of the town, which is in the midst of Ravine of Gad, towards Jazer. Then they came to Gilgad and to the land of Taitim, Toshi, and they came to Danjan and around to Sidom, and they came to stronghold of Tyre and to all the cities of the Levitites and the Canaanites, and they went to the south Judah as far as Beersheba. So when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of the 9 months and 20 days. Then Joab gave the sum of the numbers of the people to the king, and there was in Israel 1,800,000 valiant men who drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men. And David's heart condemned him after he had numbered the people. So David said to the Lord, I have sinned greatly in what I have done. But now I pray, O Lord, take away the iniquity of your servant, for I have done very foolishly. Now when David arose in the morning, the words of the Lord came to the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and tell David, Thus says the Lord, I offer you three things. Choose one of them for yourself, that I may do it to you. So Gad came to David and told him, and he said to him, Shall 7 years of famine come to you in the land? Or shall you flee 3 months before your enemies while they pursue you? And shall be 3 days of plague in your land? Now consider and see what answer I should take back to him who sent me. And David said to God, I am in great distress. Please let us fall into the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, but do not let me fall into the hand of the men. So the Lord sent a plague upon Israel from morning till the appointed time, from Dan to Beersheba. 17,000 men to the people died. And when the angel stretched out his hand over Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord relented from the destruction and said to the angel who was destroying the people, It is enough. Now restrain your hand. The angel of the Lord was by threshing floor of the Arubah Jebusite. Then David spoke to the Lord when he saw the angel who was striking the people and said, Surely I have sinned, I have done wickedly, but these sheep have they done. Let your hand I pray, be against me and against my father's house. And God came to that day to David and said to him, Go up, erect an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Arubah the Jebusite. So David, according to the word of God, went up to the Lord commandment. Now Aruna looked and saw the king and the servants coming forward him. So Aruna went out and bowed before the king with his face to the ground. Then Aruna said, Why has my lord the king come to his servant? David said, To buy the threshing floor from you, to build an altar to the Lord, that the plague may withdraw from the people. Now Aruna said to David, Let my lord king take and offer up whatever seems good to him. Look here are the ox of burnt sacrifice and threshing implements and the yokes of the ox for wood. All these, O king, Aruna has given to the king. And Rahuna said to the king, May the Lord your God accept you. And the king said to Aruna, No, but I will surely buy it from you for a price. Nor will I offer a burnt offering to the Lord my God, which cost me nothing. So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 15 shekels, 50 shekels of silver. And David built there an altar to the Lord, and offered a burnt offering and a peace offering. So the Lord heeded the prayers for the land, and the plague was withdrawn from the Israel. So yes, finally I have completed my task. So tomorrow I'll be not reading the Bible, which means today. Actually, it's Sunday for me, so it's a rest day. But I will be reading the commentary on First Samuel and Second Samuel, and will be completing that in my personal time. I'll be not doing the live stream, but I will do it personally, and I will take notes of some of the notes of it. So thank you once again. Hope you all have a great day. God bless.